Hello, Internet, and welcome back to Survivors Complex. Um, we're ready to jump right in, rip and raring to go here on this fine Saturday afternoon. Hopefully no storms show up to lend any more dramatic ambiance to this game. Thank you all for joining us. A couple of quick announcements before we get started. We have our giveaway is on its last legs right now. That will be ending Monday when we give away our fabulous prizes. So make sure you get in onto that while you can. Of course, we're giving away a copy of Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, the newest or latest 5e supplement book. From what I've heard, for the people that have it already, those lucky people have said that it is a treasure, that there are all sorts of wonders within, and that you would be just cursed not to have it. So you better enter this giveaway if you want a copy, because it is, in fact, the only way you can get a copy of this book, as said by many sources. But no, we are giving away a copy of that on Monday. It will be announced during Wild Space, so please tune in to find out if you won. You still have plenty of time to enter, of course. We're also going to be giving away some GGK stickers. Along with that, we're doing a second drawing. And if we happen to hit our 200 follower goal here on Twitch, we will be giving away a set of Wild Space themed dice. I think we're still like 30 some odd or 40.
We're exactly 30 away. I checked.
Exactly 30 away. Yes. So get yourself and 30 of your closest friends to follow us.
You only need 29.
You only need 29. If you could just put the word out there. Tweet it. We have all sorts of tweets on our Twitter page right now, so go over there and retweet and get the hype out so we can hopefully give away some more prizes to you as part of this fantastic giveaway. And once that's it, we're done. The channel's shutting down. No more giveaways, just nothing else. This is our but we will do more giveaways in the future. But we are hoping that we'll get as many people as we can enter this one. As I said, we have Wild Space tomorrow. Otherwise, we wouldn't be announcing it during Wild Space. And we will have Survivors Complex next Saturday. We had Tidefall last Thursday, which will be going up on YouTube this Wednesday. So make sure you tune in, or if you missed the episode last week, you can catch it there in all its glory. I think that's it. I don't have any other announcements. I'm sorry, I have a weird energy tonight. We'll see how that translates into the game. Yeah, so let's go ahead and jump right in to tonight's episode of Survivors Complex. Last session, your illustrious crew had left the city of Bjornheim to traverse the Echo Mires to the west of the city, looking for the knowledge of these elven master craftsmen that had created weapons capable of harming the most powerful fae of these lands. You needing these weapons to hopefully strike down the Queens of Night and Magic and or the Queen of Witches to make good your escape from the Twilight Realms. You, traveling into these abandoned marshes, you encountered creatures along the way. You had a brief encounter outside the marshes with a creature that set you against each other, leading to a fun encounter involving all of you just beating the crap out of each other before that creature was able to escape. You made your way into the marshes. Upon doing so, some strange otherworldly energy spirited away, quite literally, your companion Lucius, as he was kidnapped by his own vapor puppets. Not wishing, as the marshes around you begin to rile up and to attack you themselves, you escaped further within, encountering more ghostly and spectral apparitions along the way, You had a run-in with these ghostly knights that attempted to bring you into the marsh and consume you along with everything else that had been consumed within those marshlands, but you were able to defeat them. And eventually, after speaking with one of the bodies of the dead, thanks to a spell from Den, you were able to locate the remains of the master craftsman that had been imprisoned here. You found a plateau at the center of the marsh where 10 standing stones encircled a tree. You broke the stones, releasing the bodies that had been sealed within, and freed the spirits of those master craftsmen, one of which a elven or a fey woman by the name of Arnoran offered her assistance if you would finish what she had started, striking down the queens of night magic. You agreed. She possessed Sadel to give him the knowledge that he needed to help, and you you fought a banshee. That was the other thing. The fight wasn't that big a deal. You just all almost died, but you defeated the creature and escaped the marshes, and that's where we left off, just having made your escape, reaching dry solid land once again, and burying the body of the dead elven warrior that you had used, or that had given you the information that you needed, named Dularen. And I think that's where we'll go ahead and pick up. The body having been interred underneath the towering trees surrounding you, underneath the pines that litter this forest, and there's a fresh mound of disturbed earth in front of you. The bits of weaponry that have been on the body embedded into the ground around. And you stand there sort of contemplative, contemplative in that moment. Anything anybody wanted to do as you are making good your promise to bury this fallen soldier?
I mean, I just gotta say a prayer over him. But that's it.
Okay. You give your prayers and your last remembrances. And as you're staying there over the body, there is sort of a small disruption to the earth near the center of this mound of earth. And you watch as a very small bud begins to just grow from the center of the dirt pile. And slowly, but perceptible enough that you can watch, you watch as a tree begins to just slowly grow. And I think over the next 5 minutes, 10 minutes of you standing there, I mean, it's growing to a sapling, and you realize just the rate that this is happening at is fast, but it doesn't just like shoot out of the ground. It is very slowly a tree beginning to rise up from the spot where you buried this elven man.
Does that normally happen when you bury people, Den?
Me? No. That's never happened.
It's beautiful.
They say from death comes new life.
Well, where to now?
What do you think, Ghost Boy?
What do you think would be best?
I think as you're saying that, there's that kind of cold chill that goes through Sadel, and the spectral form of Arnaran pulls herself from your body until the spirit is standing beside you, and she speaks out to all of you in that kind of wispy, haunting tone, and says, "If you're looking to gather the materials you will need to craft these weapons, then the Lion's Den would be when you best start."
Lion's Den it is.
If I'm right, my father should be there already waiting for us.
I can also lead you to the forge itself. I know its location. However, last I remember, we sealed it away. Or the Queen had sealed it away. In a spell or a warding of ice. And the one she tasked with keeping the key was the Lord of Rivers. So, best to plan how you wish to tackle that next task as well.
Is there any chance he'd just like give us the key?
With him, I suppose there's always a chance. Depends the day that you catch him. Unpredictable, that one.
We do need to talk to him to see if he'll ally with us for what we have planned as well.
If you're able to capture the mines or gather the materials you need there, then that might be a good bargaining chip to start. Do you have any other allies at this point, or is it just your small group?
So far, we have the Bear King.
That's good. That is a good place to start, and that's a sizable force. I suppose he would have pointed you in the direction of the Wild Hunt as well.
That's where we were pointed towards after this, I guess.
We also had a loose alliance with the Hunt during our rebellion, but that assistance fell short of what we needed. I imagine having both the Hunt, Bjornheim, and the assistance of the Lord of Rivers, or at least knowing that his armies won't stand against you, would be a great boon to your cause. Whether that means killing him or align with him, I don't know.
While we are traveling as well, if I may ask you a favor?
Certainly.
I have been, during our travels, attempting to learn Sylvan myself, but fallen short of never being able to find a tutor. While you're journeying with us, would you be able to help me learn the language?
I could do so. I could teach you some words that would be beneficial to you if you wish to be able to navigate these lands. Of course. I think she kind of looks around and tries to decide the best way that she's going to be able to instruct you. But I think you figure out some sort of method where she can like write down like words or maybe ghost imprint on trees or something. Ghost powers, which ghosts have.
Just possess me and beam it all into my brain super conveniently.
Yeah, we could also go with that. That works too. So I think what happens is for your tutoring lessons, she's able to sort of temporarily possess you, and so you can have that communication in your head and kind of begin to give you the knowledge that you need to learn Sylvan. Okay, I think we'll it's not going to take you too long. Are you guys going straight to Lion's Den? Is that the plan? Yeah,
I think so. Yeah,
Probably.
yeah. Okay, well, you've got probably about a day's travel. I mean, I think this will be enough probably to set you to the point where you're able to, since you were starting at a good spot, to get proficiency or at least be able to speak in the language in a passable way. Okay, so you return to your wagon, gather up Didar and Gil, and no, you guys already had a little bit on you, so I guess Gil was on you too. So just Didar.
He was protecting the horses.
He was protecting the horses, and the horses are protected. No harm seems to have befallen them. The wagon itself seems to be in fine condition. So you're all able to load up onto the wagon again, giving a look back over the Echo Myers and skirting around the southern sides of them towards Lion's Den in hopes of very quickly trying to resolve this plight that you find yourselves in. All right, so you spend the next, I'd say probably day traveling that way, avoiding any singing that you might hear along the way. I think at this point, and just trying to keep to yourselves. Actually, after leaving or getting putting a distance between yourselves and the Feywilds and heading south of the Echo Myers, I think you begin to notice that this area is a little bit more well-traveled, and you begin to find the remnants of a road that cuts through these lands. You don't encounter anybody, and it doesn't look like the road is traveled often, but there is enough of a rut, and it looks like enough traffic comes through here every few weeks, few months, over the years, to create some sort of path here, and you follow that to the west over the coming day. As you approach the mountains and you reach the hills themselves are kind of growing around you, you see these your vision becoming mostly obscured as you're following this pathway that cuts through the more level terrain of the lands around you. The forests giving way to smaller trees and plant life, and mostly it's just rough terrain, jagged cliff edges coming and jutting out from the mountains themselves, and overall just becoming harder and harder to travel through here. However, about you take a long rest. Time is difficult to tell, but about halfway through the next day's travel, as you're passing by a near kind of between a narrow kind of cliff or a fissure leading between two cliff faces, you hear a whistling sound like a bird above you. And you all look up, and you can see a figure sitting on the edge of the cliff face, probably 40 or 50 feet above you, wearing a dark cloak and small pieces of wood kind of falling and floating down from up there as he seems to be whittling something in his fur-covered hands. You see ice. The person, not the object, above you. It's not that cold here yet. And he waves down and calls down to her and says, "You all made it."
Just about. Had a few run-ins with some spooky goings-on.
He says, "So you survived the Myers. Did you get what you needed? Anything left there to help you on this, or to help us find this forge and stand a fighting chance?"
We have the knowledge we need. Now it's materials and the forge itself.
Good. Well, I might be able to help there. And he says, 1 second, I'll be right down. And he begins to scale down the side of the cliff face like as tabaxi do.
While he's scaling down, I just want to whisper to our ghost friend to stay hidden in either me or Saddle when he's around.
Okay. I think while he's not paying attention, when he's kind of climbing down, there's just that faint kind of mist through the air that trails along the floor, and then she's back into Saddle. And that you might need the assistance when you get to the mines. Enough out of sight. She's a ghost. She can be invisible. So he lands on the ground, sort of brushes himself off, tucking away the small wooden figurine, and says, I haven't been here for too long, so this is fortuitous that you showed up when you did. I just got back from Lion's Den, trying to find the best way to enter the city. Not much has changed, luckily, so I think we might be in luck. Do you all need rest before we proceed any further? We might need to, I assume you might want to see the city before we come up with a plan. Maybe we leave the wagon here. I can show you up on the ridge what we're looking at, and we can come up with a plan and camp here for the evening.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
All right. He kind of looks up. He says, I should be able to climb it. Do you need any help? Should I bring a rope or something?
Don't worry, they've got this up. Yeah, they've all got this. They have their own tricks, and this will be fun to watch.
He shrugs and says, all right, up we go then. And he begins to scale, he kind of leads you down a little ways. They leave the wagon here, and you head down the path a bit further until there's a section where the roadway that you're going through kind of snakes off to the south a bit. And he looks up and begins to scale up the cliff face here. I assume, Star, you climb up behind him. Den, do you fly? Tova, you run. Saddle, are you going to use your spider climb, or are you going to tag along with Den?
I'll tag along with Dan again.
Use the rope.
Okay, yeah. I'll use the rope. Why not?
Okay. So I think he scales up and he turns around and he sees you climbing up behind him and gives a nod to you, Star. And then he sees Den just kind of whoosh, go flying past, like crackling with electricity as she does. Tova whoosh, just runs straight up, sprinting, just running straight up the side of this cliff. Little bits of dirt and rocks getting kicked off. And he kind of mouth gaping as he watches her just run straight up the cliff. And as he shakes his head and turns around, and you just see Saddle with the rope in one hand and his foot looped in the on the bottom, just sort of elevatoring straight up the cliff, as well as this magical rope is kind of snaking its way up to the top. And he, watching all this, turns back to you, says, "You have some strange friends. Powerful, but strange."
I've gotten used to it.
And he finishes climbing. And actually, I guess, Tova, you make it up there first, followed quickly by Den, I think. Actually, Den, yours is your normal movement speed. So pretty much everyone that would make it up there at the same time, except for Tova, who just sprints up in a matter of seconds. You all make it to the top of this ridge, and you get a pretty good view of the surrounding countryside as you're standing on top of a rather large hill, or a smaller section of the mountains. You can see the topography slopes upwards to the west and to the north of you, forming a bowl around a pseudo caldera straight ahead to the northwest, only probably about a mile or so away from your current position. It's within this caldera that you see the glistening ripples of a lake, roughly H-shaped, that contours to the shapes of the mountains that push in on this bowl. And straddling the river that runs out of here into the south, you see a city. Not unlike one you have seen previously. The architecture, the gray stone, flat structures forming steps leading up into the mountains themselves reminds you, eerily so, of the city of 10,000 Steps. Just reversed, instead of the plateau or the ziggurat in the center, the whole thing forming with the mountains themselves, forming a bowl here. The tallest structures towards the edges, pushed into the mountains, almost forming a wall that blocks off the southern entrance of this caldera. And you all stand up there, get a good view of the terrain here, and Ice points out, and he says, the structure itself is the same as it was the last time I was here. Unfortunately, they won't have the cover of night to enter, since the lighting won't change, but I do know that after I've been watching for the past day or so, the guards change at regular intervals, and we should be able to time it right to enter the city, avoiding too much detection. The problem we're going to have, and he points a little bit to the north side of the lake, he says, the entrance to the mines is roughly on the northern shores. The guards there have a different schedule. We're going to have to deal with those guards in one way or another. Additionally, the guards are not the only problem you'll face getting into the mines. There is an arcane barrier of some sort preventing ingress. I have to have means of neutralizing or bypassing that ward to enter. Looks around and looks back to your group and says, any thoughts, ideas? You all seem like you might have some means of doing so.
Do you know if any of the guards patrols have ever involved entering or exiting the mines?
No. As far as I'm aware, nobody has entered the mines in living memory. Those wards, those barriers there have stood for millennia.
I'm still a big fan of the running at people screaming about a dragon plan. It's worked before. I'm just saying. Let's put a pin in that one.
If I can find a way to make an illusion big enough, it could work, but we don't have a magical gem doing that job for us today.
True. That was so funny.
It was perfect. We should, if we ever go back to Growlithe, we should see if we can get more of those.
We should.
For now, although us getting it isn't the problem, it's everyone else. God just seems like our best chance to do that. We guide the wagon while everyone else hides inside. We can at least get close to the mines. After that, it's the best, finding the best way to try and get in them. The guards will most likely investigate us the second we get close, so we could try to ambush them and hopefully prevent an alarm going off. After that, it's just breaking barriers before we're interrupted.
Sean, did Honoran say that the Lord of the Rivers has the key to the mines or the forge?
The forge. The forge is protected in a, as she said, some sort of barrier of ice.
Okay.
And the Lord of the Rivers has a key or some means of bypassing it.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
I just can't remember which one.
Ice says, if we could, he points to you, Star, says, if you and I could stand, we could lead the wagon inside, say that it's shipments. If you have some means of disguising the cart and its contents, that could work to at least get us into the city.
I can keep an illusion up, but you may have to do most of the talking for me.
I could do that. And then getting into the mines, that we might not have any option other than, as you said, ambushing the guards that stand there. Shouldn't be too difficult, though. I don't think they expect anyone to even be able to enter the mines. It's mostly done for, as you said, the purposes of being able to cause an alarm if someone should try.
Are we sure there's only one entrance to the mines?
As far as I know. I'm not as skilled in traversing landscapes such as this. There may perhaps be another entrance, but I'm not aware of it. There are many caves and crevices within these mountains.
Also, I recall you mentioning that perhaps we should disguise ourselves when we're in the city.
There aren't many non-tabaxi within the city itself. If you're going to be in plain sight, then yes, you would need some sort of disguise, but if Star can provide some sort of illusion on the cart, then you may not need it.
The barrier. Is it just like a door? Is it just covering like the front of the mine?
It seems to be some sort of arcane, a spell of some kind, preventing physical entry.
Because if there's stone around the door, I can get us in. Did it once before. It was awesome. When we broke into the church that one time. I can shape stone.
That may work.
So it can get us a small tunnel past the door. If we can find the edge of the barrier, and it's on a stone wall, as I imagine a lot of the mine probably is, since it's in a mountain, I could just carve around it.
That may be possible. Either that, or if you have some means of neutralizing or dispelling the magic itself. But having both options might not be a bad idea in case one fails.
I can also do that, I'm just not as good at it. I'll bring both. We could try both.
Alright. So, through these doors, or Tova, you mentioned finding another entrance. That's an option too, though it might take up some time.
I just don't know if trying to ambush the guards is the best way.
I wish there was a better option. I wish that I could convince my kin to open their eyes to what they're truly facing and their situation, but it took me many years to come to the same conclusion. I'm afraid they are unwavering in their loyalty.
If the Tabaxi here are anything like the ones I met on Graldar, they're convinced they're living in a paradise while they're here. Bribing them probably won't work, and I don't know if we have enough diamonds to get their attention. We could attempt to knock them out and leave them to one side, but if they escape, that's an alarm and more guards waiting for us on the way out. Taking them in is just as much of a liability.
Because that's the other thing, once we get into the mines, we'll probably need a lot of the material, and how are we going to get it back out?
Ice says, I do have one thing I can help with that. He reaches into his pocket, and he pulls out a small piece of black material, which he unfolds again. And as each time he unfolds it, this thin material seems to have unfolded into a numerous, almost an infinite number of folds and pieces until he's got a long, about 10-foot diameter, circular piece of black cloth, which he unfolds and then lets fall onto the ground in front of you. And as he does, your perspective sort of shifts for a second, as suddenly in front of you is not a piece of black cloth, but a 10-foot diameter pit that goes down another about 10 feet or so into the mountain itself. And he says, I picked this up along the way. I think that this might be able to help us transport a large amount of material.
That's very clever.
I wasn't the one that made it. He's more clever than I. But it should do the trick.
So do we need to take the wagon at all?
Well, the wagon helps get you in, if we wish to go that route.
Does make leaving easier though. Worst case.
We may not need it to leave, but this cloth will help me. And he begins to pick it up off the ground and fold it back up into the small sort of pocket square. He says, this will be enough for us to get it out, but it only holds a finite amount of material, and I do not know if you wish to make more than one trip. We could leave the wagon here, load up as much as we can. This would make it possible for Star or myself to sneak in and out with anything that we have and load as much into the wagon as possible.
That's pretty good. And worst case, I guess we have to knock a couple of guards over the head.
We don't have to kill anyone, just incapacitate them. Give us enough time to get what we need, leave before anyone can identify us.
I like it. Let's do it.
Any last minute thoughts? No?
As long as this all goes smoothly and no one sees through my illusion, we should be safe.
I'll do what I can to help. I can be fairly persuasive.
Then just let your armor rattle as much as possible. A bit of sound may help pass things along.
Says, do we need to wait here for an evening to give you time to prepare?
Yes.
Yes.
As I assumed. Alright, this might be as good a place to make camp as any. Keep an eye on our surroundings. I just recommend not to create any open flames while we're here. Be seen from some distance. He says, actually, in fact, we could just, and he unfolds the parchment or the pit again and folds out in front of you. He says, I didn't think about it, but this actually makes a much better place to camp and gives us an elevated position.
That's awesome.
Camp in the hole.
You could just camp in the hole. That would obscure anyone that might be able to see you.
I like this vibe.
until he betrays you and folds you all up inside of it. Just kidding. It's actually not that hard to get out of. It's fabric. So you all, so you camp for the evening. Does anybody want to do anything other than just keeping watch? Jed's preparing spells.
Can I look for some wood, some feathers, and some small stones to make some arrows?
Sure. You can definitely do that.
Or do I have to punch some bushes and make clothing first?
Yeah. You gotta go. You go make some fabric, and then you gotta fashion yourself a bow. No, yeah, you can do that. Yeah, I think you probably have to travel a bit away from your current position, but you head out into the more forested areas. You find some small traces of birds or other nests on the ground of some of the bountiful wildlife that calls the Feywild home, or now you're in the Starlight Mountains, so calls the Starlight Mountains home. Just make an investigation check.
Investigation, okay. Well, that's a 1.
Oh crap. Okay.
Can I try to be sneaky while I do this?
You can, yeah.
Okay.
Make a stealth check.
Stealth check. That's much better. That's a 24.
Okay. Well, so a quiver holds 20 arrows, so I was actually just going to have whatever you rolled be the amount of arrows that you make. Do you add anything to your investigation, or is that just the total of the one?
No. Although, I don't know. I wonder if I could make a case for survival.
Yeah, I'd allow survival. I think that's appropriate here.
Okay, so that's an 8.
Okay, so
survival.
Okay, so you make 8 arrows. You find the materials for 8 arrows.
Cool.
So it's something. That's enough to get you through a combat or two, I think. Just basic arrows. So, all right. So you gather those materials. Anybody else preparing anything? Those of you that can repair things on a long rest. All right. So the evening passes. The sun not really changing, but you all get a chance to sleep, to prepare. Tova sits there in the pit, fletching arrows. Den sits there with her prayer books and in a meditative stance after waking, and you prepare the rituals and the spells to memory that you will need for this encounter. I think Ice sits there sharpening his short sword. And yeah, I think the last little bit of advice he gives says, all right, the one last thing I should mention is that, and I think I mentioned this before, there is some legend of a creature within the mines. I don't know if it's superstition or a story, but there are some times when, as a child growing up, we would feel tremors, shaking, and the rumbling of some beast from within. I don't know if it was meant simply to keep us from entering or not, but should be prepared that there might be more within than we might expect. With that, he sheathes his short sword. You all get out of the pit. He folds up the material and tucks it away. And you all make your way down to the carriage or the wagon. So I think Star and Ice, you guys are sitting on the front as the drivers.
Yep.
And then Didar, Tova, Den, Gil in the back. Gil I can't decide if he might set you over the edge there. Might be too many people in the back. How are you disguising them? Oh, and Totobet, sorry.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna disguise them, make the illusion of a large tarp covering just all sorts, and just poking out. Have, for the sake of Den's armor, have like some bits of armor or some weapons just sort of visible underneath it all.
Okay. So enough that it looks like you're protecting the stuff, but people can see. They don't need to like lift up a tarp, or they're not going to have to interact with the illusion to see what's under. Okay, I think that's fair. That also helps disguise the sound of Didar, who is sort of clanky and metallic too.
And actually, I think for the purposes of this, I want to cast Reduce on Didar.
Okay.
And just keep him small and out of the way.
Yeah, you could do that. How long does that spell last? And how long does
up to a minute?
Up to a minute. So that you can do that, but I assume you might want to wait until there's a moment where that might be important to move and to carry him like a football or something.
Sun image lasts up to 10 minutes, and I point out twice. I can keep the illusion going for 40 minutes in total.
Okay. He says, nice nods and says, it gives us a narrow window, but should be able to make it work. Other than talking, should be able to pass ourselves off as traders and bringing requisitioned materials from the capital.
I will, before we leave, I will also change my armor's appearance so it more resembles sort of merchants' traveling clothes.
Awesome. So you're the glamored studded leather armor kind of sparkles and shifts, and you're in sort of a wave of color from one shoulder down to your foot or to your boot. The armor and your appearance shifts to simple brown leathers, kind of a little bit of an undershirt underneath, like trimmed with red, enough that you just sort of look like a normal, kind of a well-off trader who might be dealing with these sorts of supplies. I'm trying to see if... Oh, yeah, actually, and I think as he sees you do this, Ice, because he can cast Disguise Self at will also cast disguise himself in similar garments, so you guys match. Look like you might be coming from the same place.
Like father, like son.
Yeah.
I've got one. I'm gonna cast Enhance Ability at 3rd level.
Okay.
I can get 2 people. And I'll do Eagle's Splendor on Star and Ice.
Nice.
So you guys get advantage on charisma checks. Lasts for an hour, so drive fast, I guess.
Awesome. Okay. So you all load up in the wagon. You're holding off on the spell until the right moment, Star, I assume, so you can make it last the longest. So you begin trundling down the pathway, down this road that leads to Lion's Den.
The what?
I'm amazed that's taken this long to happen.
It hasn't, it's just been a really long time.
I'm just going to make us sit here for a little bit, think about what you've done. We're going to take a break, everyone. No, I'm just kidding.
Don't be lying, you loved that one.
I'm going to start keeping a little timer, a timeout button. It's going to go by 5 seconds each time that somebody makes a pun until we're just sitting here in like a minute in silence with me just staring at you guys. Okay.
Like a penalty in soccer.
Yeah. All right. So just as you're about to round the curve that'll lead you on a straight path towards the gates of Lions of the Tabaxi City, Ice gives you the nod, and you mutter the enchantments, and the wagon, where all of you are crouched in the back of. Didar's got his head tucked down a bit, and suddenly there is this shimmering sort of distortion that surrounds all of you from your side looking out, and you can see sort of from the reversed image the bits of metal and the tarp heading over. You can see all like from the inside of this illusion looking out what is currently obscuring you. You all duck underneath to stay within this bubble of illusion magics. Ice looks over his shoulder, you both kind of give an inspection over it. It is definitely, it's definitely passed. And what's your spell DC, by the way?
It is 15.
All right. So, as you make your way towards the gates of the city, Ice kind of gives a look around, and you can see the tall stone walls stretching up to the about 50 or 60 feet above you, forming a smooth barrier that stretches out about 200 or 300 yards in either direction before kind of merging with the surrounding mountainsides. There are parapets. There are parapets with torches stuck into them, giving off a little bit more light in this kind of twilight haze. And the gates themselves stand partially open to allow you entry. And standing there, you actually watch as there are a couple of guards, and some of them walk away, leaving one of the guards there as you're catching them at that changing of the guard that I said informed you of. So at this time, you're catching just one tabaxi that is staying there, as the rest are heading off, ending their shift, and the others haven't joined up yet. And he looks a little disheveled as he turns around all of you. Black fur, little kind of white markings across his face. He looks to be on the younger edge, maybe a little bit older than Star. And he sort of straightens up, has a spear in one hand, and holds out his other towards you, indicating in the universal language of stop as you approach. And he comes alongside your wagon up to where you're sitting, Star, and looks it over and says, greetings. Weren't expecting any shipments here today. And Ice gives a smile and kind of leans over you a bit and says, oh, sorry, we got hung up a bit in the travel. There were some raiders from the hunt that had made their way a little bit farther north, and unfortunately the shipment was supposed to be here 3 weeks ago. We got a bit sidetracked. They probably just don't have it on the ledger for today. The guard pulls out a small sort of leather-bound book and begins to flip through it a bit and closes it and says, nobody keeps me informed of anything. What do you have back there? And he begins to reach over towards the tarp to move it. I says, just armor, weapons, trash, I suppose, discarded materials that the upper echelon of Gathersalas didn't want for their private armies. So, as sure you're aware, we get the scraps. The guard kind of retracts his hand back as he's seeing the metal that is poking out from within. Sees kind of the little bits of scraps of armor and bracers and weapons within. Says, he shakes his head, turns back to you, Star, and your father, and says, well, one day we'll get the nice materials, but I suppose it'll do for now. We've had some new recruits, so hopefully this will help. And he looks over the two of you and says, what are your names? He kind of looks to you first, Star.
You can just call me Son.
And I didn't even think. I'm asking this question myself. I didn't even think of a fake name for him. He says, "You can call me Lake." And the guard kind of looks over both of you. Go ahead, or he's going to make a deception check with advantage. I don't think you need to make one for your name. Seems a little bit. He's not trying to insight check your name. I rolled a 2 and a 1. He has a +8. So that's a 10.
Oh no.
And now I'm going to have...
But this guard's like super, super tired and exhausted, right?
Yeah, he is. So I think this is what happens. I think he says, all right, well, I don't have you in the ledger, so fortunately we are going to have the appropriate paperwork. I need to make sure that everything is documented as it's unloaded. So I need you to head in towards the barracks to the left. I'm sure you know the way. Just meet over with Bolt over there, and he should be able to help you unload and take stock of the materials we have. Ice sort of gives a hesitant nod and says, all right, I suppose that's fine. But listen, I think that it's been a long travel, and I need to rest my legs, and I'd really rather not go through all that right now. Do you think we might be able to wait for a bit? And he is going to, you see Star, one of his hands kind of begins to glow slightly as he traces some symbols off to the side. And he is going to cast... he's going to cast Charm Person.
Yeah, my dad knows magic.
On the guard. So it needs to make a wisdom saving throw. Which he succeeds on. And so there is a flash of energy as he succeeds on the saving, or as he resists this magical effect and kind of steps back, and you see Star as he is doing so is obviously caught on to what's going on, or kind of has resisted this magical effect. You have a moment to react if there's anything you want to do. And any of you in the back, if you want to do anything, you can.
If I cast a spell, I lose concentration.
Mm-hmm.
Can we tell this is going kind of south?
Yeah, you see it's going south. You saw that kind of like this little flash of energy, and he's stepping back, and you have a moment to react as he is sort of caught off guard by what is going on here.
I'm just going to like kick into the cart quickly.
Is he like right by the cart?
Yeah, he's right by the
I'm
cart.
doing this. I like Assassin's Creed cover kill. I'm just gonna hop out of the cart and grab him and just drag him into the cart and just like
Okay, go ahead and make a. I don't think he's aware. I mean, he didn't catch on to the illusion.
Do I get sneak attack?
No, you do get advantage on your grapple check though. So make an athletics check with advantage.
21.
Okay, he's going to resist with disadvantage. I don't think he's going to be able to get it yet. So that's going to be not be enough. So you grab onto him and then you yank him into the cart and suddenly he disappears as you, I assume, cover his mouth or something.
Yeah, I don't want to kill him, but if I could just kind of knock him out, just go to sleep now.
Sato, was there something you wanted to do?
Yeah, I was gonna say if it looks like she needs help, I'll just with the butt of my gun.
Okay.
He has a glass jaw.
Yeah, well, for the sake of brevity here, because you haven't grappled, there are 3 of you in the back of the cart with them. I'm not going to just have you sit here and just continually
we just start wailing on.
I think he is surprised enough that one solid hit with the back of the thunder cannon is enough to knock him out. He doesn't. This is just a guard. He's not the champion of the tabaxi or anything. So that'll be enough. And
I could shoot him just to be safe.
You could. You want to do that?
No.
Go for it. The gun goes off as you hit him with the back of it.
Shoot through the top of the cart. Hit Star.
Yeah, so I think Star, you and your father watch as suddenly this tabaxi is being back up, and you see Den's arms just shoot out from the side, pull him in, and you hear this kind of
go now.
Just stop leading the horses again.
Okay. Yeah, you lead the horses forward, and Ice sort of mutters back and says, "Good job. Sorry." So you head in through the gates, which now there are no guards, and as you proceed through, you can see the 2 guards that were leaving their shift heading back to the barracks. They sort of turn over their shoulder and they see you entering, not really having any reason to think anything's up. And you can see some other tabaxi moving around. And as you enter the city, you can see this, again, similar to 1,000 steps. You see, or 10,000 steps, you see many kind of squat, single-storied, thatched roof stone buildings scattered throughout the center of the basin here. You see young tabaxi children running around, some older men and women kind of tending to them, many different appearances, colors, markings across them, just a intermingling of this of the tabaxi people within this place. There are a fair amount of soldiers here, and you can actually see there are some training exercises going off near the lake. Groups of the tabaxi soldiers kind of marching in unison, standing there and conducting certain drills. There are training grounds and sand pits. You see target dummies. You can see archery ranges. There's a very martial sort of atmosphere here, intermingled with the children that are being tended to that many of you might know at this point are probably abductees from the material plane.
This is nothing like Growlithe back home.
Ice gives a nod and says, "We're going to help them. We're going to bring them home." And he stirs the wagon to the right, heading north around the side of the lake that direction. And after kind of trundling through the city, there are a few tabaxi children that come running up to the cart, kind of get a peek inside, and Ice gives a smile over to them. Actually, the unconscious guard just still not moving, just kind of rattling around in your grasp. Ice kind of reaches into his pocket and pulls out one of the wooden figurines he's been working on, kind of tosses it over to one of the kids, catches it, and smiles as they hold it, and leads the wagon along the eastern shore of the lake. And you follow that shore around the buildings, which become more and more scarce as you get to the northern edges of the city, until finally he finds a place to sort of stir the cart between a few buildings near the northern edge that are darkened on the interior. You don't see anyone around, but it's probably as close as you get without with the cart, as there is a empty expanse, these narrow pathways that lead towards towards where the mines would be on the northern edge of the lake. And so he stirs it out of sight down an alleyway and brings to a stop. And he says, "All right, this is probably as far as we can make it. If we head that direction with a cart, they're going to be more suspicious. There'd be no reason for us to requisition weapons and bring them to the mines. From here, we'll probably have to find a way to quietly get the drop on the guards that are stationed at the entrance to the mine." "Well done, though." He looks back through the illusion to all of you. Says, "Is he all right back there?"
Yeah, he's fine.
Do you have any rope or anything to tie him up with?
I think so. Let me check my inventory. Oh yeah, I have rope.
Good. Tie him up for now. Make sure he's going to stay quiet. We'll leave him where he can be found once we're gone.
I'll just hog tie him.
All right.
And then I guess gag him with something.
Sure. Den got any sweaty socks?
I don't think Den wears socks. I don't have a whole lot of stuff that's made of fabric, you guys.
You guys have clothes and stuff in the bag of holding. I'm just going to assume that you have some changes of clothes in there. You have some fabric that you can use to gag him with.
That one works.
He'll probably be unconscious for a little while too. So, all right. So what's the plan? Essentially, you have, like I said, the city is near the southern edge of this lake, straddling this river that comes out from the lake and heads to the south. The city tapers off around about halfway up the bulk of this lake, and you probably have about half a mile between you and where the entrance of the mine is going to be, where there really isn't any city or there aren't any buildings along the way. There's some trees and some overgrown plant life, as well as just sort of rough mountain protrusions. So you have plenty of cover along the way, just not an easy way to get a wagon from here to there.
If we head straight for the cover, we can plant and sort from the trees.
Okay. So you all gather yourselves, disguising yourselves, or trying to make yourselves as sneaky as you can.
I cast invisibility on Den.
All right. So you cast him.
Also, just quickly, how many times do I have to cast Silent Image to keep up the illusion?
How long could you keep it up for?
10 minutes at a time. And I had 40 minutes total, so 4 spell slots.
I would say you. That was pretty quick. I'm gonna say you only had to cast it once. I think 10 minutes was plenty of time for you to get through the entrance and then get out of sight. So yeah, you're probably only gonna cast it once.
So yeah, I touched Den, make her invisible.
Den, you vanish from sight. Anybody else disguising or invisibilitating yourselves?
I'm just gonna like wrap some cloth ninja style, try to obscure my face.
All right.
You know, I'll make myself invisible. Why not?
Okay.
That sounds like fun.
All right. So we got 2 invisible folks and 2 sneaky folks. All right. So those of you, I'll just have everyone make stealth checks.
Oh.
So I would have disadvantage.
So you just have a normal
Is
check.
that just a normal check? Okay.
23.
Nice.
16.
Nice.
25.
Nice. And I'm gonna want for Papa Ice. That's a natural 20. I don't know where that was before. So it's a 33.
Guys, my dad's so cool.
So that's gonna be yeah, even you guys are ninjas. So you very quickly dart your way from the cover of the building that you've obscured your cart behind, and make your way into the tall grass and into the rocky protrusions from the mountain, and begin to quietly make your approach to the mines themselves.
Did we leave the dude with the cart, or are we taking him?
I assume you left him with the car. But,
Okay. Just double
okay.
check.
If you guys want to like stick him in the can't fit in the bag. He could fit in the hull. He has a limited amount of air. No, you guys can leave him there. He's sufficiently tied up and gagged, and so he's not going to be able to do much. Unless he's like the Hulk or something, just rips out of it.
I know what they could do about tying knots.
Yeah. So you, within a few minutes, there's still plenty of time left on your invisibility, come within view of the entrance of this mine. And essentially what you see is the mostly overgrown pathway that you've been following alongside. Makes a sharp turn to a constructed entryway into the mountain. There is some sort of stone built like facade, smooth laid bricks forming a wall here where it seems like the mountain's been carved away. There is an entryway here that looks about I'd say about 10 feet, or no, about 20 feet across, 10 to 15 feet high, roughly rectangular entryway. And standing, there are a few support beams kind of holding the whole structure and a little bit of an overhang. And it's there that you see two tabaxi guards in full armor, a little more stoic than put together than the one you saw before, standing there with their spears at the ready, sort of resting on them on either side of the door.
We need to get both of their attention at once to avoid one of them just setting off an alarm.
Sorry, my computer was asking me to update. Let's not do that now. Thank you. Ice says, I could try to gain control or influence one of them. I don't know if it'll go any better than the last one did. Either that, or I could very quickly get myself behind one, assuming you might have the ability to do so as well, and we could try to just knock them out.
Sounds good to me. I can do that.
Either or, the only other way is to perhaps pull their focus somewhere else, have them approach where we are at right now, and then try to get behind them.
I don't know if you know this about me, but I am very noisy.
So we could catch them totally unaware, or we could get them to the same place and attack them at once.
If we sneak up behind them, that's both of their attention in one place. If it goes wrong, everyone else can run in and subdue as needed. We at least have the head start in case one of them does try to move to grab attention.
There. The rest of you comfortable with that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. Just be ready, because if we aren't able to take them down, then they're going to make some noise very quickly. I think he looks up kind of towards the mountains a bit and kind of motions that he's going to like try to scale above them before jumping down or moving down. So,
How much longer am I invisible?
you probably have about, so it was like half a mile there, so you probably have about 30 or 40 minutes left.
I want to fly up above them. And just like wait.
Okay. So you invisible through the air, kind of glide yourself over between the two guards. Okay. And the two tabaxi go crawling along the rock face. Okay. So I'll roll forward the stealth checks from before. The two of you are able to get into position and get above each one of your targets. I think Ice gives a nod over to you, and you do a quick, like, 3, 2, 1. And Ice, I think he's going to disappear for a moment. He misty steps from the rock and then down behind one of the guards. Are you doing something similar? How are you getting down there?
I'm gonna do the exact same thing because I can.
All right, the two of you at once. Misty steps, appearing behind the guards, and both of you make your attacks. So you go ahead and make your attack with advantage. You roll as well.
Uh, 17.
17 will hit. That's a 22, so his will hit as well.
Plus.
And yes, you do get sneak attack.
Yeah.
While they're getting set up, I'm just going to turn to Sadao and say, the one on the right or the one on the left? Which one do you want?
Ooh, I'll take left.
Okay. And I'm going to look at the one on the right. And can I do that in this moment? Use the empathic trait to sort of try insight on them?
Yeah.
Can I do that when I'm not like interacting, if I'm just watching them? Or do I have to be in combat with them directly?
No, you can do that outside of combat.
Okay.
Essentially, you're doing that, and it knowing that you're immediately about to attack them, so that's fine because it's good to start your district. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So what'd you get for your damage?
I rolled 37 damage.
Oh shit. All right. Well, he rolled 28 points of damage.
Dang, guys.
And the guards each have 15 hit points. So I think you all prepare yourselves as you're about to attack and all kind of jump in on these guards, and suddenly there's a poof.
Oh, that wasn't even added my dex, actually. That was actually meant to be, that's 42 with dex. I just rolled amazing on my dice.
Well, he's dead. No, I'm kidding. He's fine. Just two cracks on the back of the skulls, and they both, assuming you guys are both doing non-lethal, they both fall like a ton of bricks. Yeah.
Well, never mind.
Think about the rogues. Yeah. Okay. So that made that comically easy. So yeah, you take care of the guards. They're unconscious. Well done. You solved my guard puzzle.
Should we, like, hide them?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tie them up and secure them, probably in the woods.
All right, you take some more of your rope, and which I assume you guys have just an endless amount of between the four of you. You tie up these guards as well. And actually, what I'm going to say as far as all this goes, so does anybody have like a 50-foot span of rope? Like,
Yeah, I've got.
well, one of you does.
I did, but I guess we used it on other guy.
That's fair. So, well, just to say, you now have 2 25-foot lengths of rope if you're going to take this and tie up the other 2, because you'll probably just, unless you can, actually, you just tie them together. It's fine. Yeah. So you spend your rope to tie up the one guy, you spend your rope to tie the other 2 of them together, and then you gag and stuff them in a closet or something. There's one random closet on
those
the
forest closets.
Yeah.
Built into a tree.
Yeah. For the Keebler elves.
Oh, how the Fae love their closets.
Yeah. Just baking cookies in every tree. All right.
Find the door to Halloween Town, just throw them in.
Oh, shit. I forgot about the plane of Halloween Town.
Oh, yes. So we're going next, guys.
Okay. So the guards are dealt with. You now have a doorway in front of you, or this entryway to the mine, and you don't really see the barrier at first. It's sort of one of those things where you only catch it at weird angles, and then when like a random fly will kind of fly into it and just get incinerated like a mosquito thing. I'm looking for the
bug
word.
zapper.
A bug zapper. Thank you. So you do see kind of this barrier in front of you, and I think Sado, since you have more of a knowledge of these sort of things, you do make out the faint arcane glyphs that are inscribed into the exterior, the perimeter of this rectangular doorway.
Can I make a check and see what they say?
Sure. Yeah, make an Arcana check.
15.
15. Yeah, I think you get a pretty good idea. So this is a barrier that seems to obscure like physical entry. You gather it would not be impossible to magically like transport to the other side. The people that have the ability to like Misty Step could Misty Step inside. Doesn't seem to block arcane ingress, but it does appear that anything that physically tried to enter would take some amount of damage upon coming into contact with the barrier, as indicated by the book. And I think, yeah, I mean, with the 15, the only other thing you get is, I mean, it is pretty old. Whatever this is stood here for a long time.
Yeah, we might have to find another way in.
I could try to get rid of it.
It's fairly old, so it'd probably be easy. Relatively.
Well, we don't need to worry about anything. I can get Reginald to blot up the entrance for us while we're inside.
Alright. Give it a go. I'm gonna cast Dispel Magic
All right.
on the thing.
Just casting it as is, or are you buffing yourself in any way to give yourself an unfair advantage? Or it's this poor door.
Oh, gee.
We don't give ourselves unfair advantages.
No, using your ability. I don't know if you have guidance or anything you want to.
No, I have Enhance ability, but I don't want to cast it again. I'll just cast it. I'm just gonna do it.
All right. So go ahead and make a spell check with your spellcasting modifier.
Okay.
While they're
That's
looking at the
good.
door, I'm just gonna go off a ways and like make sure there's no one coming.
Okay. You make a perception check.
Yeah.
24.
Oh shit. Well, it was actually a 16th level spell, so you just failed. No, that obliterates the universe. You dispel all magic within reality, and everything falls apart.
Yes, my evil plan has come to fruition.
I think you concentrate and you incite the incantation, and you form this sort of net of electricity between your fingers as you extend outwards, your kind of webbed fingers. And as it forms, you then sort of flick outwards with your wrists, and the net expands, encompassing the entire entryway. Now sparks with electrical energy from corner to corner. And as it does, you watch as sort of flaking off the warding barrier begins to dissolve away from this negating divine energy until the electricity fades. And though it doesn't immediately appear there's anything is gone, you God damn it. I can't even reference what you put in the chat because somebody probably hasn't seen that movie yet. I hate you so much that you can't see the barrier any change, but you do feel something as there is a gust of cold air that like a balloon popping almost comes billowing out from the mouth of the cave.
Oh. I didn't actually really think it would work.
I rolled a 18.
18. Okay.
No one's coming.
You keep an eye out towards. You can see the military exercise is still going on the southern edge of the lake. You can hear the laughing of the children off in the distance. You can faintly hear somebody going, "Reggie, Reggie, you there? Where'd he go?" But no, nothing else. Nobody seems to be approaching at this time.
Okay.
So the cave is open.
Okay, everyone in, and I'll get Reginald to come out and start doing a web of his razor wire over the entrance.
Oh crap! Okay, yeah, you call the little spider out, and he kind of clicks a bit as the legs unfold, and looks around, the little eyes sort of spinning, and then it very quickly skitters across the ground and begins to just kind of make his way across the doorway until there's this nice sort of crisscrossed section of razor wire that is now covering this entryway.
It's noticeable, but it'll buy us time while we're in there.
Oh yeah. Well, hopefully it's noticeable. Or somebody's just going to walk straight into that. It's pretty thin, like the wire itself. Yeah, I mean, it's not invisible. It wouldn't take much to see it, but if somebody was distracted enough, they might end up getting cubed. Diced. But diced.
Oh man, I need more D6s.
So you're all in the cave. It is about 10 degrees colder from the outside near the lake bed that we were before to inside. And it is frigid. The hairs on your skin kind of standing up. Dead, you don't feel it as much. And Star, with your fur, probably don't notice it as much either. But the rest of you, it's noticeably colder in here.
I'm first just standing on end, so I look a little fuzzier than normal.
Well, in we go. I guess.
All right. So you all begin to enter this mine, the shaft of which this main entryway extending in front of you as far as you can see, hundreds of feet in, still maintain that perfect sort of rectangular shape all along the way. You can see the well-worn grooves, 2 sets of wagon tracks that would have come in and out of this mine shaft. Along the way, there are places where sconces would be set in the walls, that they are long dead and dormant. And after probably about 100 feet of walking, you get to the point where there is not very much light in here. All of you have dark vision at this point. I remember the goggles were handed out. I think everybody's got dark vision at this time. So yeah, you guys are good. It's still the dark vision without any sort of light source. It does obscure enough where your vision is limited to a certain extent, but you don't need to light any sort of light source if you don't wish it. You will be at disadvantage of like perception checks though in this darkness. So just bear that in mind unless you guys decide to light up a torch or something. As you proceed forward and you reach a point where the mine shaft begins to split and there are side shafts that branch off in every direction. And I think, Sadell, you get that whisper in your head from your ghost friend. And she says, begins to sort of direct you in the direction to go. Kind of tells you, it's like, it's been some time since I've been here, but nothing's changed as far as I can tell. It's colder than I remember though. That's not the music I want. That's like battle music. Hold on.
Or is it the music you want?
Stupid sound mixers. There we go. All right. As you continue forward in the cave, you do notice a few things. It is getting colder and colder as you are heading in, and you actually begin to notice there are sections of the walls or the ceilings where there are narrow cracks running in. The architecture here is strong, and it looks like this has withstood any sort of geological or seismic shifts that might have occurred in the last few centuries. But there are some small cracks on the ceiling where you think water or other moisture might have gone in, but it has frozen into stalactites of icicles, actually is probably the better word, that jutted out from the ceiling, forming crystalline white teeth almost across the top of this cave. And they're small at first, the ceiling only being about 10 or 15 feet above your heads, but they grow more and more pronounced and larger and more jagged, showing colder temperatures and more growth as you proceed forward into this cave. As you reach a point where you begin to turn the passageway, kind of hitting a T-junction, and the your ghost navigator leading you to the right, like I can't remember the name, like a tom-tom, pointing you the directions that you need to go. The whole structure slopes gently downwards. You do reach a point where you notice some sections of the wall that have crumbled, have fallen. There are chunks of earth and rubble that have seemed to collapse sections of this mine. Those two are kind of coated in frost as well. And about this time, when you are passing some of these more disrupted areas, there's a slight shaking to the ground. You just feel this and then it begins to slowly rumble and rumble and rumble until it gets into more of a frenzied pitch, like a train passing almost. And as that happens, you all look up and hear the crunching and fracturing of ice as suddenly hundreds of these icicles above you begin to shatter and fall to the ground, down onto your heads. I need you all to make dexterity saving throws.
Can I hold my shield up above my head?
You can. That will be part of your dexterity. Well, is
Will
this
it help?
Logically it would, but there's also that feat for doing this sort of thing. Do you have the shield master?
Oh yes, the icicle deflection feat.
No, do you have the shield master feat? Or no. I think it's one. Yeah.
No, but I have 2 shields. I have 3 shields.
Go ahead and make a dexterity saving throw, and we'll see whether you're able to do that in time.
Meanwhile, 28.
28.
11.
14.
I'm going to use my helmet and auto succeed.
Okay. So 14, 11. Ice, ironically, failed to save a...
He's not doing too hot tonight.
8. No, he's not doing too well. So I think that puts the 2 of you, Sadel and Star, succeeding. The rest of you take... that'll be 12 points of piercing damage to those of you that failed, and 6 points to those of you that succeeded, except for Star. You just avoid it entirely, and Ice takes half damage. Actually, I don't remember how many levels in Rogue he has. Yes, he does take half damage.
What is succeed?
Succeed is 6. Unless you have evasion too, don't you?
Yeah, I was just looking at it.
You take nothing.
Oh, okay, cool.
Wait, I thought everybody but...
Yeah, I thought it was only
Who
me
succeeded?
and
Now I'm
Sadel
confused.
who succeeded.
Oh, yeah, you take half. Sorry. You take 6. Tova, you take nothing. Star, Den, you take 12. Saddle, you take 6. Ice takes 6. The brain isn't working today. As the ice falls beneath you, Den, you try to throw up your shield in time, but you're just a little bit too slow to do it. Some of the shards connecting and sort of breaking through your defenses, sticking into the plates in your armor. You're able to roll, a few of you are able to roll out of the way, avoiding most of the damage, and eventually that rumbling stops. There's shards of ice littering the ground around you, and everything sort of returns to another calm, quiet interior.
What was that?
I don't know, but we probably should have seen that coming.
I don't know if I want to know.
I feel like we're going to find out whether we want to know or not.
Quietly, then.
As quietly as we all can.
All right, go ahead and move you guys to the... Let's see, click on your tokens if you need to. Just in case. As you move forward as quietly as possible, I guess if you wish, you can make stealth checks.
28.
Nice.
9.
Nice.
It's a natural 20.
I rolled a 14.
13.
14, 13. And I got a 17 for ice. All right. Okay. Y'all, as quickly as possible, or as quietly as possible, being making your way down this tunnel, which once again begins to kind of curve off to the left. You follow it, and you begin to notice a light up ahead. Just sort of a faint glowing around the corner.
I will go sneak up and check it out.
Okay. You sneak around the corner and press yourself up against the wall and leer around the edge, and you see the light itself seems to be coming from the tunnel. As sort of along this interior, there are 5 or 6 patches of moss kind of growing out from the walls that give off this sort of bioluminescence. Not 5 or 6. There are 3 patches of this moss giving off this bioluminescence.
If I don't see any creatures, I'll just wait for everyone to come catch up.
Okay. You all catch up and look around the corner, and you see this large green glowing patches of moss down this corridor.
Creepy.
I guess for now we continue.
Okay. You all begin to quietly proceed down this tunnel, eventually coming into closer proximity of the moss, and it's coating the walls in these like 10-foot patches here with these sort of vine-like protrusions hanging down with these small sort of glowing bits on the end, almost like fairy lights embedded in and giving off this gentle glow. And as you walk through, and you see these these moss growths, there is a rippling of light as suddenly the 3 sets of tendrils from the moss come whipping out towards your group. I'm going to put that's going to be an attack against, we'll say, Star, Den, and Tova.
Man, I'm at a loss for words.
Boo. I'm glad I attacked you now. I'm going to put the, because this is a surprise there, I do have advantage on the rolls. And Star, that is a 18.
Does not hit.
Against Den, that's not going to hit. Against Tova, I think this one's actually going to hit. Roll 2 17s, which will put it to 26.
Yep. Ow.
So the tendrils lash out at the 3 of you. 2 of you able to avoid. Tova, you are struck by the mossy protrusions. You take 31 points of bludgeoning damage.
Okay.
And are grappled as the moss whips onto Tova and then like pulls her back into the wall. And I'm gonna need y'all to roll initiative.
Am I still invisible?
No, I think the invisibility has faded at this point. Put the moss on the map. All right. And then moss roll initiative. Just something I never thought I would say.
Welcome to D&D.
Oh, I forgot to roll for ice. Ice and moss are what I am playing with right now. That's 15.
Oh,
Is everybody updated?
hang on. I was just going to roll it for Reginald as well.
Oh, I forgot to ask, is Didar with you, Sato?
For sneaking, I would have left him.
Okay. Didar's
Yes,
guarding the entrance of the cave.
Sneaking.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So that will put it to Sato going first.
I'm gonna shoot the moss, I guess. It's
All
a
right.
weird thing to say.
Let's go for it. Shoot the moss.
Or actually, is it like all on the walls? It's just like
Yeah, I mean, there's like these big kind of hairy patches of moss in 3 sections of the wall with these tendrils now kind of whipping out towards you.
could I get more than one if I do blast wave?
Yeah, I'd say so.
All right, cool. Then I'll do that.
All right. I'll have the moss make a strength saving throw.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, damn, this is some strong moss.
Oh no.
Oh, with a +7 to its strength saves. One of them fails, the other one succeeds.
Well, then that one takes 8 force damage.
And is pushed.
Yeah, Can I push it 10 feet away?
Deeper into the wall.
Well, yeah, because here's what happens. You actually shoot the patches of moss, and one of them just kind of seems to kind of bulk up and withstand the impact. The other one, it hits and actually breaks off the wall, kind of falling on the ground, and then you watch as it begins to kind of make its way back up the wall very slowly.
Gross.
As it does have a 5-foot move speed. All right. That will end Sadel's turn. Den, what would you like to do?
Can I hit the one that has Tova?
You can.
Okay, I'm trying to hit it. 19?
19 hits, yeah.
Okay, good. So I do...
Yeah, I'm going to say that, Sadel, you did not Thunder Wave the one that Tova, because that would have hit her too.
Fair.
Eight. 21.
20
Bludgeoning
20 points of damage. Okay,
and
sure.
lightning damage.
All right. 21 points of damage as you slam onto the moss. It sort of begins to break apart as some of the tendrils that are gripped onto Tova break off, but there are still a few others that are still trying to pull her against the wall. I also forgot, Tova, you need to make me a Constitution saving throw too.
Oh, great. Okay. Constitution. Let's roll that. Ooh. That's a natural 20.
Nice. Okay.
Total of 22.
All right. So there's this sort of numbing effect to the areas where the moss is grappling onto you, but it doesn't seem to no other effect or noticeable effect other than that. All right. Den, are you doing anything else?
Nope.
Okay. Star, it is your turn.
Okay, I am going to go. I think. Actually, for now, I'm going to go for the one that's got Tova as well.
Okay.
And I am going to cast Green Flame Blade for my attack.
Sure.
So attacking with the claw, Green Flaming on top.
All right. Yeah. Go ahead and make your attack.
Does a 13 hit?
13 actually does not hit. You go to stab at the moss, and you stab into it, but it sort of bulges up in that center and forms like a thick, almost hide, almost with the tendrils and the fibers of the moss itself, and you aren't able to actually pierce through it, and it actually seems to almost be dampening the fire that is around your blade.
Well, that's my turn.
All right. Up to Ice's turn. Ice is going to... Yeah, he is going to, instead of trying to get into melee, is going to holds up his sword sort of horizontally, and begins to kind of mutter under his breath as he does. The sword glows, and 3 beams of energy go streaking out from the sword as he casts Eldritch Blast. Is going to attack the moss that is holding Tova as well. It's going to be 3 attacks. I'm just going to roll these. I'll roll 20 because it's going to be easier. So natural 20 and 2 misses. This moss is apparently very difficult to hit. But that is 15 points of force damage for the natural 20. All right. And that is all he's got. Tova, currently restrained within the moss. How would you like to do?
I'm going to try to break out of it, I guess.
Sure. Go ahead and make a... use one of your attacks to essentially make a contested grapple check. So go ahead and make a either athletics or acrobatics check.
That's another natural 20.
Nice.
This is gonna hurt later though.
Yeah, you were able to very quickly. Was that acrobatics you did?
Yeah, so that's a 24.
Okay, yeah, very, very nimbly. You just sort of contort your body, and you use the kind of the crushing nature of this to sort of spin out from underneath the moss, and it kind of whips against itself and against the wall as you are able to leap and free yourself from its grasp.
Okay. And you said that counts as an attack action?
Mm-hmm. It'd be one of your attacks. So you have whatever. Okay. I think one more attack left in your bonus action.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull out a long fang and try to slash at it.
Sure.
Don't grab me. That's a 19 to hit.
19 does hit.
Okay, let me roll damage. That's 12 slashing damage.
All right. 12 slashing damage.
I'm going to use my bonus action to disengage and step away from from that wall.
Yeah.
Are they on both sides? Like there's
yes.
someone on both. Okay.
But you can
I'm gonna go more towards the middle.
Yeah, you can position yourself in a way where you're not within any of the ground. You now have a pretty good idea of their reach of these creatures. So yeah, you're able to put yourself in a way that you're not within immediate reach of any of these mosses. Mice?
Meese.
Bye.
Yeah, none of these meese can get you now. All right, so that ends your turn. It'll be the spider's turn now.
Hey, Reginald. He's just gonna go up to the moss that Sadel shot and try to attack that with his sickle claws.
All right. Like a gardener.
Yeah, 15?
15 just hits.
So that one does 5 slashing.
5 slashing. Okay.
And his second attack has got multi-attack.
Oh, yeah.
18.
18 hits.
And that's another 12 slashing.
Shit. Oh, these aren't magical, though.
I don't think so, no.
It's slashing. So this is actually, they're resistant to non-natural slashing. So I would just have that. All right. So, like a little spider gardener goes up and starts trimming away at the moss, but is having a hard time. It's pretty thick, and it does seem to have some sort of magical essence to it that is resisting some of the slashing attempts. It's very sturdy moss. All right. So that'll put it to the Mise's turn. The Mise are going to attack. So we're going to do one attack against Den because you're right up in melee. I'm just going to click. Get tired of rolling. That's a natural 1. All right. Next, Mise is going to attack. I guess it's going to attack Sir Leggles because he's within melee. 15?
Hits.
All right. Sir Leggles takes 52 points of bludgeoning damage. That's a lot of 12s that I just rolled. Listen, I'm just going to be totally transparent here. It's 4d12. I rolled 2 12s, an 11, and a 10. That was nuts. All right, so Sir Leggles is sort of grappled and now is held within this tanglement of moss and is just kind of giving like little whirring, sparky noises as he's trying to break his way free. Little spider body having a difficult time. Okay. And the last one is going to attack. Can't tag anyone. It's not within range. This one is the one that was on the ground. It's going to begin to kind of slurp its way across the ceiling a bit, about 5 feet, and is going to get itself within range of Sato. It's going to make an attack against you. That's a natural 20. That's 67 points of bludgeoning damage. Yeah. These Mies are vicious. So this one is able to slurp its way across the ceiling, get right above Sadell, and then like it actually wraps the tendrils around Sadell's like neck and shoulders and just gets to crush and pull him upwards. And Sadell is just sort of struggling there. I also need to make a Constitution saving throw, Sadell.
Six.
Okay, you're fine.
2 nat 20s.
He's double nat 20s. All right. Well, that ends the Mise's turns, and you all begin to notice there is the rumbling is returning. Sato, it's your turn.
That was rude. Can I guess I'm gonna try and break free from the moss.
Sure.
Strength check.
Strength or athletics? Or, sorry, athletics or acrobatics?
15.
15 is not enough.
Okay.
You struggle against it to try to rip these tendrils off of you, but you're still caught and trying to pull yourself free. That will end.
Oh, it's been fun, guys. Bye.
And Sadell's turn. Den, it's your turn.
Okay. Well. This is I have a bad idea. And no good ideas. I'm gonna do the bad idea. I'm gonna cast Shatter at 4th level, just in the middle of everything.
Okay. Sure.
It heals all my friends.
Oh, that's right. Okay, you're doing that too. Okay.
Yeah. I just wanted to let the first part sink in.
Okay.
And
What's
then I'll use my Storm's Grace and then heal all of us.
Okay, what's the radius on the shatter?
10 feet.
So 20 feet across.
10
Yeah,
foots.
I'd say that can get everyone. You guys are all pretty bunched up. So yeah, go ahead and...
It is a Constitution saving throw.
From the moss. Okay.
From the
Meese number 1. Meese number 2.
This is a bad idea. We're in a cave.
Meese number 3. Okay. 2 of them fail, 1 of them succeeds.
Okay. Maybe the last one.
Quick question: does the healing work on Reginald?
Is he alive?
He is a construct, which is why I'm asking.
It is a construct.
Work on Didar.
Didar's a bit different than Reginald, though.
Fair enough. But Reginald's cute.
Okay, I'll say it works on Reginald. Just...
That's 20.
Okay, so everybody regains 20 hit points. And the moss, 2 of them lose 20 hit points.
And then...
And one of them loses 10.
Yeah.
So the one that had Tova is not looking great. Not that, the moss wasn't looking super good to begin with. I mean, it's moss. But the mosses begin to fall apart, kind of slump off to the sides, and bits and pieces are breaking off. Okay, so that will be Den's turn. Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Star, it is your turn.
I'm not messing around with these anymore. I'm casting Shadow Blade for my bonus action.
All right.
And since I can climb, I want to try and get up to the one that's holding on to Sardell.
Okay. Go ahead and make your attack.
And we're in... Oh, with these around, are we in dim light, darkness, or bright light?
They give off. If you get within melee of it, it's going to be bright light.
I will stay at a distance and actually just throw the Shadow Blade again, so I'm still in the darkness.
Okay, yeah. So you stay at range. You got within melee to stab before, though. So are you disengaging and moving away?
Oh crap, I can't disengage. Actually, then I'll just attack the one that's right near me then.
Okay.
So, have I gotten... I'm standing... Yeah, because I went to attack the one that Den attacked,
Yeah,
so I'm standing...
Den is right next to it, so you do have ally range. It's just the ranged attack would have been difficult.
Yeah, so I'm guessing a 28 does hit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Bear with me a second.
We'll put on our hold music.
6, 11,
Do, 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 do.
21, 24, plus... 25, 29... 41 in total.
All right. That one's dead. You stab it, and it doesn't shriek, but you imagine it would be, as like bits of it sort of curl inward as you deal psychic damage to this creature that has an intelligence of 1. We're rolling with it. It works. You stab it, it dies. The end. So 1 down. 1 is currently suspending Grandpa off the ground, and the other one currently has Reginald sort of strapped to it.
And I will have to wait till my next turn to save Reginald. I mean, Sadel, because he's alive.
Yeah. Which puts it to Ice's turn, and he's going to look at Sadel and conflicted also between saving Sadel and Reginald, but it's actually going to shoot for do another 3 Eldritch Blasts at the one Sadel. is hitting. He's going to mutter quickly and actually hex that one as well. Do a little bit of additional damage. Spell slot. Do you think that's going to be his last spell slot? Yeah. And he's going to do 3 attacks there. That hits. So it'll be... oh, shit, damage. Alright, it's 11 plus 22, 24, 29, 35. 35 points of damage. Let's use Sadell, which that one's not looking too great at this point. And that's all he's got for right now. So another 3 blasts out from the length of the sword, each one striking into the moss. And Tova, it's your turn.
How tall are the ceilings?
Ceiling's about 15 feet tall.
Okay. I'm just wondering if I could like swing Longfang up and attack the one that's still got.
I'll say sure.
So it's got a reach of 10.
Yeah, because the ceiling is 15 feet tall, but the moss is kind of hanging down a bit. Sadell's not actually like he's not been like carried up into the ceiling. He's just for dramatic effect. He's
kind of hanging down. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna do 2 attacks at it.
All right.
All right. First one is a 19 to hit.
19 will hit.
Okay, and then the second is 27 to hit.
It also hits.
Okay, so on the first attack, that is 10 slashing damage.
All right.
And on the second one, that's better. 13 on the second one.
Nice. You cut up twice with Longfang. As you do, kind of shoot, and sort of anime style. There's a moment and a pause, and suddenly the vines like snap and sever, and Sadell, you fall to the ground, free as the moss kind of clumps and bits and pieces fall around you in this nice X-shaped pattern. The moss destroyed.
Can I use my bonus action to try to like cushion his fall so he doesn't like fall right down?
Sure. You sort of get underneath him and grab it. He didn't. Yeah. He's not falling too far, and you're able to brace his fall a bit. Brace him back a bit.
Cool.
Which brings it to Reginald's turn. You're muted. If you're talking.
I was, yeah. Reginald's actually... Can Reginald attack while grappled? I can't remember.
Yeah. Creatures can... You can attack while... Well, you're restrained, technically, so he'd have disadvantage.
He's going to try and use his razor line on the one that he's not grappled to.
The other 2 are dead.
Oh, they're both... Oh, sorry, that's my bad.
Yeah. Sorry, put X's on them. Sweet.
I don't know if he can roll well enough to escape, so he's just gonna... Yeah, he's just gonna try to do the 2 circle claw attacks again.
Okay, go ahead and make your attacks at disadvantage.
First one's an 8.
Misses.
I just remember there's a disadvantage button up here, so I don't need to roll twice on the thing as well. Second one's an 18.
Hits.
16 slashing.
All right. He takes slashing damage. That one's he's continuing to cut away in a nice little pattern of a turtle. I don't know what a spider would try to hedge trim this moss into. All right, so it begins cutting away at it, doing a little damage. This moss is pretty good shape right now, not doing too bad. However, that does bring it to the last moss's turn, so it's no longer a Mies. it actually can't attack anybody because it has Reginald grappled. And Reginald can't be exhausted, so sort of not in this weird limbo here where the moss is trying to drain the life from this little spider thing, and things happening. So that's it, and we would just sort of go into loose initiative as you were in this like stalemate here, where you guys start wailing on it. If not for the shaking around you, that rumbling grows in intensity at that moment, and you all watch as the rock behind the moss explodes with force, and you see these two pincers emerge from the wall. These fangs as a roughly bug-like mouth with two glistening compound eyes emerge, crimson in color, with these tendrils hanging off either side, emerges from the wall and envelops the moss, and then begins to retract backwards, dragging Reginald along with it. And the rock falls around and disappears, and there's just this flash of movement as it and pulls it back inward, and the rocks fall around, and the tunnel seals itself, and silence takes just this like low rumbling from around, and the moss and Reginald are gone. And we're going to take our break right there.
Hashtag save Reginald.
You give him back!
Hashtag.
I love him!
Hey,
Hashtag free Reginald.
if Reginald, it would have either been Reginald or Sadel, so you guys just think about what you're saying.
Hashtag free Reginald.
Hashtag free Reginald.
No, we didn't say, no way, we'll trade Saddle for Reginald.
We will return shortly to conclude the quest to save Reginald here in a bit. So hang on for 10 minutes, everyone, and we will be right back. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for bearing with us through our break. I think we actually took a reasonably length break. Maybe I think it was still a little bit long, but thank you. As I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, and I will mention again at the end, we have our giveaway currently going on. If you haven't had a chance to enter yet, head over to our Twitter page. There's a link there that you can follow to Gleam. And you can enter by following us here on Twitch, and you can follow us on Twitter and on YouTube, and get all sorts of entries that way. And you might be able to win a copy of Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes. I can guarantee you, yes, you specifically, that you will win if you enter. So do so right now. Yeah, so let's get back to the game. You all are now in this relatively quiet cavern, the bits and last bits and pieces of the wall falling away as the big bug-like mouth maw of this creature has emerged, grabbed your newfound spider companion Reginald, and absconded with him into the tunnels beyond.
Well, I'm holding Sadell.
Yes.
Gonna healing hands him for 40.
Oh, nice.
So get back.
Thank you.
Hit points. Well, I'm princess carrying you. And then set you back down.
Star, how you doing?
Just uncontrollably sobbing. No. So we thought that's a problem.
Yeah.
So you said it like collapsed back in, like it.
Yeah, the tunnel is seemed to seal behind it.
Okay.
I just had a sort of unrelated thought. So we're in a mine. Is there any like mining equipment anywhere around? Is that like Skyrim where like every 20 feet there's just like a pickaxe laying on the ground?
No, because
Or,
they're
like,
friendly and they actually take good use of their equipment here. They don't just
Good.
leave it all over the place. They don't just pickaxes everywhere. No, you've seen some evidence of mining operation here, but it looks like anything that you are going through right now in these tunnels are not the principal veins that have been mined through. So there's some evidence that some digging has been done throughout here, but you don't see any equipment necessarily.
okay, thank you.
Yet. So I think Ice breaks the silence there and says, so do we keep going or do we need to... Does anybody know what that thing was?
Can I make an Arcana check to see if I've heard stories?
I think this would be more... I would say anyone proficient in nature. Or, I mean, not necessarily proficient, but you can make an intelligence check or a nature check, if anybody... if you feel that you might have some sort of knowledge of that sort of stuff. Like, I think Tova, you probably... I'll let you make a... You can make a history check, actually, Tova.
Okay.
18.
18, okay.
It's 12.
12, okay. So, yeah, you don't recognize... Tova, it sort of seemed... Some bits and pieces are coming together and you're not really still quite sure. I think... Star, you're able to put a few things together, and based on what you just saw, you might have read a book or heard stories or something. This isn't something typically Fae related, but you have heard of certain burrowing, insect-like creatures, referred to as remoras, that, based on some crude drawings that you've seen in some books that you've read, you seem to resemble that, except typically those are like sort of a pale blue color. This one was more of a deep kind of crimson red color. Other than that, that's about all you got at this point. But it did sort of look like some drawings that you've seen.
It resembles something I saw in a book called the Remoras, but it's the wrong color.
What does that mean? What color is it supposed to be?
Like, from the drawings I saw, they're normally like blue.
Ah.
So I don't know. I don't know if going outside to go. I don't think we could risk going outside for being seen or anything right now. We can either try to find somewhere safe-ish in here to hold up while we recover, or keep going if everyone's comfortable with that.
I think we should get in and out of here as fast as possible.
Yeah.
I think Ice nods and says, I'm good to continue going. I'm tapped as far as spells go, but I don't know if I would have anything necessarily that would be beneficial against that creature, so I can keep going if everyone else is ready.
All right.
Keep wandering, I guess.
All right. So you continue trudging down the path, leaving the broken bits of moss behind as you venture your way forward down this tunnel. As you wind along these corridors, eventually you get to a point where it stops branching out as much. You actually have a longer chute. And in your head, Sadel, you hear a voice. You hear the voice of Alaran. Arnaran. That is, she kind of whispers in the back of your mind and says, it's been a long time, but I think we're getting close. This would have been about where the last veins were being tapped before they sealed off the mines. And I think as you are proceeding forward, the passageway that you're on, the shaft that you're on, levels out. And about, I'd say about 100 or so feet ahead of you, you see more kind of a faint light source. Another glowing, different color than before. The last one's sort of a greenish gold light. This one is more of a reflective blue, a light blue color, and it's almost rippling like water.
I'm gonna sneak up close and take a look again.
All right, make a stealth check.
31. Can you roll that high on stealth, Sadel?
You quickly dart forward, leaving everyone else behind, to check on your surroundings up ahead. And as you reach a point where you can see into the room ahead of you, you you get an idea of where this light is coming from. The chamber itself opens up, and instead of just a passageway, which you've been in before, you were actually in more of a cavern, a natural occurring cavern, and the whole room spans probably 150, 200 feet across. And it's here that you begin to see mining supplies. You see some pickaxes, hammers, chisels, buckets, small like wagons that were left here that would have been used to carry to transport the material in and out. And that shimmering blue color is actually coming from these veins of metal that you can see crisscrossing and spiderwebbing their way all throughout the interior of this chamber. And you see the metal itself, this bluish white that is resonating. This faint color is beautiful, like small rivers coursing their way through this chamber and along the walls, suspended across the ceiling. And it would be beautiful and awe-inspiring if not for the other current inhabitants of the chamber that catch your eye, as there are numerous holes that are burrowed into the walls throughout. Look like not like the halls, the shafts that have been neatly dug out by the Fae that crafted these tunnels. Instead, these look more natural, burrowed by creatures. And in the center of this chamber, you actually see 6 round shapes in a pile of dirt and crystalline debris. The shapes are a maroon, glistening in the bit of blue light. You see a nest with a number of eggs. Each egg probably about 2 feet in length and a foot in width.
I'm going to whisper. I know everyone's all just not far behind me, but I'm just going to whisper into the bracelet. I think we've found its nest as well as what very well may be the ore we're looking for. We may need to kill this thing. We're going to need to kill this thing and all these things before we can do any mining here.
Have we felt any of those tremors at all while we were walking along?
Not yet.
Okay.
I think you also know that your past perception is high enough, Star. There's something else, a different color glinting in the chamber. You actually see near the nest. There are piles near the nest of bones. Creatures that might have been eaten, taken and consumed by the Remoras as it came back here to feed and to mate. And you see a glistening of what looks like a brass color. And you see there, curled there, sort of malfunctioning a bit, unable to move, but still kind of twitching slightly. You see your small little spider, Reginald, just a couple feet away from the nest.
I've also found Reginald, so it's nearby. That doesn't make this any better, does it? Okay, perhaps if you all catch up, we go in at once, we break the eggs, just do as much damage as possible to attract it, and hope when it comes here we can just overwhelm it, maybe?
I know I'm probably like the last person you'll expect to say this, but it feels kind of shitty to just like come into its house and kill it just for some rocks.
This thing was seemed to find us as soon as we started fighting those weird moss things. I think mining here is going to bring its attention even more, and if we're in its territory, it's going to attack either way.
Well,
If any of you have a way of putting it to sleep for a while, then I'm not here.
I could at least try to see how much we could get out before it shows up. I could still stone shape, so maybe that's not as loud as pickaxing.
Are you filling in ice on the conversation? Because he can't hear anything that's being said right now.
Yeah.
Okay. If she does say, if you don't want to kill it, I could put it to sleep, but it would only last a minute or so. I agree with not eradicating this entire this creature and its kin for the sake of this. Maybe if we have to kill the mother, the father of this creature, maybe not kill all the eggs too, and not upset the balance here too much. We do need this ore, though. Don't have any other option.
Let me see what I can accomplish. I want to try this. I want to try this and see if it works. Before we start just like hacking away. Can I quietly ish try to go kind of into the cave to like skirt around the edge and get to one of the veins?
Yeah, make a stealth check.
Oh, jeez. 11.
Okay.
The other one was so good.
You make your way over to the vein. No rumbling or anything yet.
Okay. I don't know if this will work. It says that 5 feet in any dimension, I can shape stone into any shape that suits my purpose. So this is what I used to make the passage last time, but can I just like shape, if I can do any shape, can I shape like around the ore deposit and try to like separate it?
So sort of shape the stone away, but leave the metal ore,
yeah,
the iron ore there, and then
yeah, just as a section of stone, no more than 5 feet in any dimension. So I don't think I could affect the ore.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. You could do that.
Just see how much I can get.
Okay, so you concentrate, cast the spell. As you do, the stone itself sort of melts away. Is pushed away from the ore, just leaving this sort of, I guess for this sort of spider web of iron within the rock still, all just perfectly preserved. The stone had moved around it. It's a 5-foot cube. I mean, it's a sizable amount. Might be enough to make. After being forged and worked down into to an ingot, might be enough to make a weapon. Maybe 2.
How many eggs did you say there were again?
6. But it's relatively quiet. You don't make a ton of noise or disrupt the air too much for it, but you could get a sizable amount of ore by doing this if you have enough spell slots.
Okay.
Because the other option was just like grabbing a pickaxe and going at it. I don't think we talked about this part.
If I use all of my higher level spell slots, I can do that 4 more times. And that is all my 4th, 5th, and 6th levels gone.
Yeah, I'll say, because it's not, I guess I should probably think about this a little bit more. So it's not pure. When you forge it into the steel, it's not just the cold iron that is, not just the frost iron that goes into it. There are other metal, what's the word I'm looking for? The other metals that go into it. So the amount that you're getting with the 5-foot cube, and you can see the veins pretty well, yeah, it's probably enough to make, I'd say probably enough to make 3 or 4 weapons. But if you're trying to get a substantial amount, enough to outfit an army, it's going to take probably some digging. So depends on if you're trying to go commando on this and just outfit yourselves, or outfit a larger group, or you give everyone a bunch of daggers.
I guess we need to decide how many weapons we actually need, because also, how long does it take to forge a weapon? It's not like we're all going to be able to, you know, mess around with a forge and churn out a bunch of weapons. Like, that would take a long time.
You could ask a friend. Like, looks at Sadell a second.
I think Arnorend can hear the conversation, so she she says, the best alternative would be to have enough weapons to put in the hand of everyone. But I agree that perhaps enough to outfit you, if you're the ones that will lead the charge against the queens. That's what is important.
As much as I would love to have time to forge hundreds of weapons.
Then move quietly. Use what spells you can. Perhaps, if possible, have people ready to make a distraction. I realized I was doing Ice's voice. Let me move back into Arnorand's voice. Perhaps be ready to make a distraction to keep the beast preoccupied while you gather what materials you can.
If we can, it might be an idea to make sure we can outfit the Bear King, the Lord of the Wild Hunt, and the King of the Rivers as well. We already have the Bear King on our side, but gifts won't go amiss if we're trying to get allies.
So, 7?
Yeah.
Ice says, I also have a friend that was looking for a weapon as well. I have mine, but any extras? I told you the ally that I was working with.
At least 7, any extras we can get are a boon we can use to our advantage.
Okay. I guess I want to see how loud this is. Can I, like... So the ore that was left when I moved the stone, can we, like, pull it away? Are we still gonna have to, like, chisel it out?
It's pure ore, so it's pretty brittle. It's not. I'd say if it's gonna make a little bit of noise. You're gonna have to very carefully break off each like little piece, which is gonna probably cause a bit of disruption to the ground. I think Ice, hearing what Arner had suggested, says, I can leave the pit here with you. Perhaps causing a distraction isn't a bad idea. I can go a few tunnels down, make some noise, and lure the creature away while you're mining here. If anyone wants to go with me, not a bad idea either, but, I'll do it by myself if necessary.
I'll be with you in 30 seconds, and I'll sneak over to the extra so I can rescue Reginald and put him back in my pack.
Okay. Make a stealth check. Or I'll carry forward your stealth check from before if you want me to.
I roll a 31 again.
That's fine. Okay, yeah, you sneak over, and you grab one of the, you grab your little spider friend and you go trouncing off. Okay, so you get to that, and you and your father head down the tunnels to prepare some sort of distraction. You guys can all communicate with your sending bracelets if you wish to coordinate this, or just wing it.
Before we do any chiseling, I'm gonna stone shape out
As much as you can.
as much as I can, and then I think we start chiseling.
Okay, so I think here's probably the best way that it goes. So he takes out the pit and he lays it there, kind of near the center of the room, almost around where the nest is, and puts the pit there, so you guys can put all the ore inside of it. You head around the room very quietly. I'll keep your stealth check from before because it's just enough to keep yourself from being detected. And cast the spell a few times into the walls, finding some of the iron deposits that are a little richer than the rest, where you'll get the most ore, leaving these more spider-webbed interiors where the ore itself is sort of suspended in the air by the veins throughout.
I guess I need to tell you how many times I cast it.
Yeah, how many times do you want to cast it? Are you saving any of your higher level spells? Like I said, each time, since you're finding the richer materials, I'd say Sadel is able to kind of direct you to the right places because he's got the knowledge from Arnoren. Each time you're doing it, you're basically securing either 2 larger weapons, or 4 like smaller weapons, or if you were going to like make bullets or ammunition or something with them, you could make a pretty good handful. Probably about like 20 or 30 rounds.
So if I did it, man.
I say larger weapons, I mean like a longsword or a flail, or like if you're gonna make like a warhammer or something, that might use all of it from the one casting. But,
So if I did it
or not warhammer, like a maul. That's what I meant.
So if I did it 4 times.
Do it 4 times. That would essentially give you 8 regular-sized weapons worth. 8 like long swords worth of. We're doing this in long swords, so I'll give you 8 long swords.
Long swords, the Fey unit of measurement.
Yeah.
There they were. And I said there were 7.
And for our purposes, a long sword equals like 2 daggers equals like 20 rounds of ammunition or
Do you guys think
arrows.
that's enough? I could do it. I could use my 6th level spell and do it one more time.
I mean, our plan is just to get out of here, though, right?
Yeah.
What level is The stone shape?
It's a 4th level spell.
Oh. Dang.
Yeah. We're just gonna run, right?
Yeah. If it shows up.
I'm gonna do it one more time. I don't wanna.
Okay.
And I don't want to have to come back here.
So 10 long swords.
Yeah.
So we're doing this. Let's just say 10 ingots worth. We're just going to go ahead and say that. And somebody out there who knows their smithing can yell at me about it, but that's what we're going.
It's a Skyrim rules.
Yeah, Skyrim rules. So you get your 10 ingots worth of ore. So you cast the spell that many times. You haven't gotten the ore yet. So, so preemptively, you've gone around the room. And bear in mind, there are 3 of you to get 5 deposits. As Star and Ice go off.
Shadow, how? I mean, I know like making noise and stuff, but how careful do we need to be? Like, as long as we have all the pieces, we're just gonna like melt it, right? It's okay if we break it.
I'm.
That was us waiting on a ghost to talk face.
Yeah, I guess that would make sense. Yeah, it's fine if you break it.
Yeah, it's okay if you break it.
Okay.
It's going to be smelted down anyway, so.
Yep.
I'm just trying to think of the way to do this as quickly as possible. Which sounds like hitting it really hard, just like once.
Alright.
Idea. What if we take the portable ram and just... Is that a bad idea? And then just like get all the pieces?
You could be doing that 5 times.
Is that a bad idea? You guys look like it's a bad idea.
I don't know any other.
Yeah, we don't really have any other ideas, so.
I mean, I'm just thinking, the quieter we are, that's great. The longer it's gonna take. I don't know if we should risk it.
Maybe have it on hand, and if things start to go south, you could start using it.
Alright.
Okay.
I'll take out the portable ram and just like have it.
Alright.
Have it locked and loaded.
So you're timing this up with some sort of distraction out in the tunnel? Or you guys just want to do this, see how bad it goes, and then use the distraction if needed?
Probably have a distraction ready.
Yeah, maybe just tell
Yeah.
Star and Ice if they start to feel tremors, then maybe cause a ruckus.
Or if one of us goes, now!
Yeah.
Do something!
I could always make a bunch of noise. If we need to, I can run to one end and get it to chase after me.
Alright, let's start. We'll be really quiet. Chisel away. And if something starts to go down, we'll signal Ice and Star. And if it starts to really, really go bad, then Sado, you just run down a tunnel and like shoot something. Just confuse
Sounds
it.
good.
Alright.
This is a terrible idea.
Most
So-
ideas are.
Those of you that are trying to chisel this stuff out, try to do it quietly at first. Alright. I'll need you all to make dexterity checks. Any of you proficient in like I guess Saddle, you could use your like tinker's tools or your blacksmith's tools if you wish.
Yeah, I've got smith's tools.
Smith's tools, yeah. You can use your smith's tools or your proficiency on that. Do either of you have any smithing proficiency? Okay, so just straight dexterity then. Try to be as finesse as possible. These are on the first 3.
Natural 20.
Nice.
22.
Okay. 19.
19, nice.
And what is the attribute for the smith's tools?
You could use dexterity on it.
Sweet.
So dexterity proficiency.
$17.
17. Nice. Okay. You all chip, 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 chip. And you're able to break away enough from these 3 veins to begin transporting it as quiet as you can back to the center of the chamber. I'll go ahead and say, so you did the breaking without causing too much issue. As you're transporting it, I'll have whoever is going to be transporting the materials make a stealth check.
All right, I'm gonna grab them.
Okay.
Got to sneakily over there. Okay. 21.
All right, 21. All right. Very quietly transporting the materials. You get the first one, the second one, the third one. Say, as you're putting them in the hole, the first time you take it, you begin to notice the eggs. They give off like a cool like vapor around them, like they're like chilled. And as you're coming back for the second round, you also notice with your passive perception, the eggs are like slightly moving.
Excellent.
And actually, as you come back for the third time, one of the eggs kind of, and you watch as this tiny little like insect-like creature. It's got almost like a centipede type body structure, like segmented hide with these little spikes, beautifully like red colored with these blue spikes heading down and giving off this chilled color to it. It's got these fins that go out to either side, these big bug eyes that are reflecting the light, and it kind of like gives off this like kind of slight squeaking chirping noise, and it just like locks onto you as you're walking past.
Adopt it.
Fine now.
So you put the stuff in the material. Are you doing anything or just
Is there any way I could like bring the hole closer to where we're doing stuff? Like kind of
Okay, you kind of grab it, you're gonna drag it across the ground. I mean, it's just like a piece of
to go in the hole.
Yeah, no, you just drag it away. As you're dragging it away, it's just watching you. And as you begin to move out of sight, you see it move and just like clitter, like follow you across the ground.
Guys, we might have a problem.
You're familiar enough with, I think, animals and like living in sort of your environment. You know that a lot of animals have this natural instinct to imprint on the first creature they see after they are born. And this one may have sort of imprinted on you. And is now going to follow you around like you're its mother.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna just like still quietly, but like, guys, I have a problem. It might think I'm its mother.
I mean, that's not the worst thing. Do these things eat their mothers?
And it's just like still following me around. Oh no.
Hasn't tried to eat her yet, so.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna like drag the hole closer to them so Dart is doing stuff. And then I'm gonna go back over the nest and see if there's like anything that looks edible for this little guy.
Yeah, I'd say there's There's like a few
pile of like food. Or
yeah, you did see there are some bodies around it. It looked like some animals that might have been killed and brought here in preparation for these creatures hatching. And there's like an elk or like the remnants of an elk or a deer in there that's like mostly frozen. But it's there. It's edible, maybe, to this creature.
Okay, I'm gonna try to direct the creature to that and be like, here you go.
He sort of it moves up to you and you sort of scoot it away from you like a cat. I mean, it's cold to the touch. It's like a little like it was constructed of ice. And you scoot it back towards the meal, and it looks over to it, and as it sees it, kind of and begins to like dig into the elk carcass. There's like this kind of almost sickening crunching as it is eating the mostly frozen meat. So the two of you are continuing your digging. There's two more things left. So Sato and Den, go ahead and make dexterity checks, or your checks with your tools.
17?
21.
21. The two of you dig and chisel very quietly, getting everything put in place and breaking everything off. No disruptions, no tremors, and you're able to gather the materials. The hole is brought closer to you now. So I'll say Tova was able to bring it close enough. You load it up, and now you have all the iron loaded up into the hole.
I'll fold it up, I guess. Like I saw ice folded up before. I'll just do what he did. Try to fold it up.
You fold it up, and it disappears.
Stick it.
Yeah.
Stick it in my pocket. Here, Gil, hold this.
Gil takes it and tucks back down to your pocket.
Okay. I say it to the bracelet. We got it. No major catastrophe yet.
We're now coming. Let's just try to sneak out of here. No incidents.
Okay.
All right. I'll have the three of you, or those of you that are in there and make your way out, make one last round of stealth checks.
And be like, carefully, like, back away from the little guy while he's eating. Hopefully he doesn't notice.
Okay.
31 again somehow?
Okay.
16.
Okay.
20.
Okay. You're muted.
I rolled an 11. The first one was a natural 20. I'm so mad. 11.
Okay. It's still enough. You still sneak your way out. It has a passive perception of 10. I'm just waiting for somebody to roll below a 10. You quickly duck your way out of the tunnel. And I think this is what happens. As you're quietly making your way, Tova, and you're all reaching the tunnel entrance, suddenly the creature the chewing stops. It looks up. Looks around. And it just lets out this like this chirping noise, like this lonely, like sad chirp that echoes throughout and kind of echoes throughout the cavern, and then it begins to run around looking for you. What did you roll again on your stealth?
On my stealth, I rolled a 16.
I just rolled a 16.
Huh?
So I think it notices you. And as it lets out this loud chirp, it sees you, and it begins to like run across the ground, skitter up to you, and sort of raises its body in the air. Its little like dozen or so legs kind of like fluttering as it's trying to stay close to you. However, as that happens, there's also a rumbling.
we doing?
We need to go. I want to take it, but I don't want to take it because I know it's gonna make the mom mad.
What do you do?
I'm gonna leave it. I'm trying to keep it from following us. Oh no.
As you're contemplating that, the rumbling begins to grow in intensity, and you all begin to feel it through. Even Star and Ice in their section of the cave, the rumbling begins to grow, and the rocks around beginning to shake.
It's Mom will find it. We gotta go.
Let's go. And I'm just gonna start running away.
Okay. You all begin to run as fast as you can away and out of this cave. I think Ice and Star, you kind of run back and you converge. You see the small creature, the tiny baby Remoraz, like trying to run behind you and keep up with its short little legs. It can't move nearly as fast as you all can, and it's just laying this horrible, like, lonely screech behind it as it's trying to keep up with what it believes to be its mom. However, behind it, in the tunnel, you see a plume of smoke and debris as this massive crimson form comes shooting up like a train out of the ground. This huge creature, segmented, comes rearing up and kind of serpentining around, or snaking itself around in a coil as it surveys the nest as you are all running down this cavern. And you see the crimson segmented form of the Remoraz, the blue spines coming off the back, and at the top of the creature, you see the same head you saw before, the gnashing teeth, the bug-like eyes, and you see a second head as well. As both heads, these fins come shooting outward, and it lets out this screeching noise which shakes the cave as it sees the state of the nest. It sees one of the eggs shattered, and it turns in the direction down the tunnel where you are all currently running as fast as you can away, and suddenly it digs back down to the ground, and you watch as the fracturing rock is coming behind you, and you're all running as fast as you can, trying to get away from it. You quickly turn the tunnel, just getting out of sight at that point of the small little baby, as it's sort of kicked up by the breaking of the ground, not smashed or anything, but is jostled a bit as Mama is coming roaring in after all of you. You begin making your way up the tunnels, and it doesn't seem to be following you directly because it doesn't need to. And as you are rounding a corner, it cuts you off, and suddenly there is an explosion to the side as the rock breaks away, and it comes streaking through the tunnel to the side of you. It is going to make an attack against actually, I'm just going to have you all make dexterity saving throws. I think that's a better way to solve this.
Ooh.
Lowest gets chomped.
Okay, cool.
I get chomped. I rolled a
Yes.
3 total.
Yeah, you get chomped.
I rolled a
I'm good.
natural 1.
Okay, nobody rolled lower than a natural one.
No.
Okay, Dan, suddenly, this one of the two heads bites out at you. That is going to be a natural 20 to hit. How many hit points do you have?
102.
Okay, it's not going to do that much, but that is 71 points of piercing and 22 points of fire. Sorry, cold, not fire.
I was like, fire. Oh, wait, I'm resistant to cold damage.
Yeah, so you take 11 points of cold.
And what was the big number?
71.
Okay. Okay, that's fine.
As it
Still
emerges
up.
from the side, you throw up your shield, but it grafts onto you and sort of tears against you. As you rip your way free of it and continue to run, the creature digs back into the ground, disappearing. The rumbling of the cave around, encompassing all of you. Den staggers for a bit, kind of losing her footing, but continues to run behind you. As you all are running forward, you all have a round if there's anything you want to do or cast or anything like that.
Can I heal myself?
You can if you want.
I cast Cure Wounds on myself. At 3rd level, I'm running out of spells, you guys. Oh, that's 21. A lot.
All right, 21 points of healing.
Yeah.
So, Den, you kind of slap a hand on yourself. You send that jolt of electricity going through you, sealing up some of your wounds. You all turn the corner again and begin to race upward along this ramp as the tunnel is still shaking around you. Suddenly you hear this cracking noise, and you look up and you watch as the ice and the stone of the ceiling begins to break and fall. I'll need you all to make another set of the dexterity saving throws.
13.
19.
Success. Fail for Star.
10.
Fail.
12.
Fail. And Ice. Ooh, rolls a natural 1 plus 6, so that's still a fail. So everyone fails except for Den. 10. Ooh. I rolled 2 10s and a 1. So it's 21 points of piercing damage to those of you that... Okay, hold on. So 21 points to Sadel, half to those of you that are rogue-ish, and then half to Den, so that'll be 10 points to the rest of you. All right. So as the ice and the debris falls around you, it scatters across you. Some of you are able to avoid. Sadel taking the brunt of the impact. You turn the corner again, and you come into the long straightaway that you came in the first time. The path leading about 100 feet or so ahead of you towards the gleaming exit you can see with the barbed wire now snaked across it. And you all begin to run that direction. And as you are heading that direction, you hear a breaking and a roaring behind you as you see on the other end of the tunnel the 2 red mouths of the Remoraz breaking out of the stone and now chasing behind you, Indiana Jones style. What are you doing? Sadel, I saw you raise your hand.
Yeah, how close is it to us?
The Remoraz or the barbed wire?
Remoraz, sorry.
It's probably only about 30 or 40 feet away.
Okay.
It's gaining on it. It's running up to you right now, so you could stop and it'll get closer real fast. Or you could slow down and kind of let it catch up if you needed to get within range. And
how close are we to the barbed wire?
About 100 feet away.
Okay, no, I'm gonna keep running.
Okay. Is anybody going to try to do anything about the barbed wire as you are approaching it?
How big are the gaps in the barbed wire? Like how big is Reginald programmed to leave gaps?
I'm going to say each one is probably about the square is probably 1.5 feet by 1.5 feet.
I can jump through that. I'm fine.
You might be, yeah. The rest of you might not be so lucky, but the roguish of you might be able to.
Do I feel like razor wire would do a lot of damage to my shield that I have? Or that maybe my shield could take the razor wire?
You might be able to take some of the brunt. The razor wire, I mean, again, it's razor wire versus the gnashing teeth of the creature behind you. The razor wire probably looks a little bit softer.
I'm going to, because I have a tower shield that's real tall, and so I'm just going to tell everyone to get behind me, and I'm just gonna charge straight through it and see if I can like break it.
Okay, I think that Ice is gonna help you by
thanks, Dad.
Shooting with his Eldritch Blast a few times towards the edges. So gonna make some attacks to try to weaken the sides of it.
I've never been so glad I bought this really tall shield, you guys. Those are hitting. So I think he's firing, and a couple of them are passing through, but some are ting, 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 hitting the kind of the corners, weakening the razor wire a bit. It's just still the net is still holding up there as the creature is gaining on you slowly, and you can hear this like the breath behind you and the shrieking as it's kind of not just straight on attacking, but it kind of serpentining like around the walls as it's following behind you. The mount sort of spinning and glowing with this frost energy, and it's just shrieking at you as it's slowly gaining. Den, you're running straight at the barbed wire. Go ahead and make an athletics check. Okay, I'm gonna duck just in case.
Tova, was there something you wanted to add to this?
Yeah, while this is happening, I'm gonna turn around and face the creature. And I'm going to activate Finsar and try to word of peace it and just
okay.
Turn around and be like,
go ahead and roll the thing
Stop.
with Finsar. And Den, what'd you roll?
19.
19,
No.
okay.
That's wrong. 21.
21. Okay. Go to roll for the thing for Vinsar because I don't remember the.
Here, let me pull it up. The creature has to make a wisdom saving throw.
Okay. Interesting. All right, wisdom saving throw. That's not the creature. That's Ice.
Because you said it was like within 30 feet of us, right?
Yeah. Okay. That's so here's what happens. You are all sprinting forward, the creature serpentining around and snaking, or corkscrewing, I think is the better term, around the interior of the tunnel as it's chasing and the tunnel is shaking behind you. Den goes running forward. You all slow down a bit and kind of get behind her as she puts up her shield and slams into the razor wire. You hear the crunching and the breaking of the stone that the razor wire was anchored to as you lurch forward. Then I think you are going to take some damage running headlong into the razor wire.
Yeah, that seems right. That seems like a true sentence.
So this it's going to be 16 points of slashing damage as you run into the razor wire. It kind of grips around you and trails behind, but you all emerge out of the tunnel and near the edge of the lake. As you turn around and you see the creature, it's still chasing you. There's no ward here anymore, and it begins to approach and exit the cave. However, Tova turns around and you see a pulse from the bracers as she holds up a hand towards it, and the creature, as if it hits a wall, like it skids to a stop, and it just lets out this hissing noise, this frost billowing out into the warm air as it stops, and it like lashes out like it wants to attack, but it won't, and eventually it begins to calm. And the two heads are biting at the air as it begins to back up.
Okay. I don't know if it can understand me, but your children are unharmed. Return to them. See if it goes back.
All right. It doesn't seem to listen. It's calming, and it's reaching this tension where it seems like it wants to attack you, wants to press forward, but it just begins to back up in this menacing growl. He's got these plumes of frost, steam almost, emanating from its mouth, and like a fog machine almost across the ground. And it begins to back up towards the tunnel. In the darkness, you just see the glowing of the spines across the back of its body, and you all begin to rush away. And Ice is sort of pulling on you and saying, "We have to go, and somebody's going to notice this." And you all begin to run away and back towards the carts.
I feel like maybe we should like untie the dudes and make it look like maybe it attacked them. Because we just left them hogtied, right?
You did. They're probably about 30 feet away from the cave, hogtied in the bushes. And given how long it's taken, they're probably still unconscious.
Yeah.
I just untie them like real quick and just kind of like roll them up.
We're going back to the cave, and as you guys run, it just dry. I'm just kidding. No, it goes.
No, not that far. Just like out of the trees.
That's what the guards are grabbing them.
Another sacrifice.
All right, you you all go running back towards the carts, escaping back into the city, and I feel like that's probably a pretty good place to end the session for tonight.
No, we have that other guy tied up in the cart.
You do. We'll resolve that. All of the
Poor Jerry.
shenanigans with Reginald. Oh wait, I named him Reggie too. God damn it! But that was before I even knew the spider's name.
Spider's been named for weeks.
I know. I wasn't paying attention
to my children.
Wasn't paying attention. But yeah, we'll go ahead and end it there. It feels like a dramatic and comedic place to end it for tonight. All right. Well done, everybody. You avoided a rather nasty fight. Good job.
I don't know. It still felt pretty nasty to me.
Well, that natural 20. Imagine if it had gotten to do that a lot more.
Yeah, I'm sitting at 16 hit points.
Yeah.
Oh no.
All right. I see how it is. But yeah, no, good job. That was some creative problem solving on your guys' part. Well done. Another victory for Gale Force. And you have somebody marked down enough ore. You have 10 longswords worth of frost iron ore. Because I don't know units of measurement. Thank you everyone for watching. Take a deep breath. We'll be back to continue this story in a week and see where our adventurers choose to go next with their newfound loot. I'm assuming to make some badass weapons. Go and quickly do our announcements and then maybe play some video games afterwards. Thank you for watching. We have our giveaway that is going on currently. I've mentioned it a few times during the stream, but I'll mention it one more. Ends on Monday. We're giving away a copy of Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes to one lucky viewer/follower. If you want to enter and you want to win this awesome 5e supplement, head over to our Twitter. The link is below on the Twitch page, and you too can perhaps win this fantastic book. However, we will also be giving away some other prizes too. Some GGK themed stickers that we have procured, and we will be giving out some of those to some lucky fans as well. Wild Space, we will be announcing it on Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So check that out. Tidefall will go up on Wednesday to our YouTube, and we'll be back next Saturday for Survivors Complex. I think that's it. So thank you all for watching. We'll see you in a week, and until next time, good game and good night, Internet.
Good night, Internet.
Good night, Internet.